Long before the Great Pyramid of Giza, before Egypt became famous for its colossal monuments, the land of the Nile was already home to one of humanity's greatest civilizations. Its kings ruled from magnificent cities. Its people mastered farming, writing, and engineering. Yet no one had ever built a pyramid. That was about to change because of one remarkable man. His name was Imhotep. Unlike the pharaohs he served, he was not born into a royal family. He was neither king nor warrior. Yet thousands of years later, his name is still remembered. He became one of the few ordinary men in Egyptian history to be honored like a god. Surprisingly, we know only a limited amount about Imhotep's life. Unlike many famous rulers, he left behind no autobiography. Most of what historians know comes from inscriptions, monuments, and writings produced long after his lifetime. Over the centuries, history and legend became intertwined. Separating fact from myth remains one of archaeology's greatest challenges. Around 2670 BC, Egypt entered a new age. A king named Djoser ascended the throne. At his side served an extraordinary official, his advisor, his architect, his trusted servant. His name was Imhotep. Together, they would create something the world had never seen before. One bold idea would transform architecture forever. A monument, built not from mud brick, but from stone. It would become the world's first pyramid, and it would make Imhotep immortal. No one knows exactly where Imhotep was born, or what his childhood was like. Ancient records reveal very little about his earliest years. But historians believe he grew up in a society that valued learning, discipline, and service to the king. These qualities would define his remarkable life. Education in ancient Egypt was reserved for only a small part of society. Those who mastered reading, writing, and mathematics could rise to positions of great responsibility. Although historians cannot confirm where Imhotep studied, his later achievements reveal an extraordinary understanding of engineering, administration, and religion. Imhotep's intelligence soon earned him the trust of Pharaoh Djoser. He became far more than a royal official. Ancient inscriptions describe him with remarkable titles: Chancellor of the King, High Priest of Heliopolis, Chief Builder, Keeper of the Royal Seal. Few men held so much responsibility. For centuries, Egypt's kings were buried inside rectangular tombs called mastabas. But Imhotep imagined something entirely new. Instead of building outward, he would build upward, layer upon layer, rising toward the heavens. It was a bold idea, unlike anything ever attempted. Soon, the quiet desert of Saqqara would become the greatest construction site the world had ever seen. Imhotep's vision was becoming reality. Around 2670 BC, work began on a project unlike anything the world had ever seen. Pharaoh Djoser had entrusted Imhotep with creating a monument worthy of eternity. But this would not be another mud brick tomb. It would become the first great stone monument in human history. Archaeologists believe the project began as a traditional mastaba. But during construction, Imhotep made a revolutionary decision. Instead of stopping with a single tomb, he enlarged it again and again, eventually creating 6 massive stepped levels, rising high above the desert. A new form of architecture had been born. Never before had a monument of this scale been built almost entirely from cut limestone. Every block had to be quarried, transported, shaped, and carefully positioned. Thousands of skilled laborers, craftsmen, engineers, and administrators worked together. It was one of history's earliest examples of large-scale project management. The pyramid was only one part of Imhotep's vision. Around it rose an enormous ceremonial complex, covering more than 15 hectares. Temples, courtyards, shrines, gateways, and towering stone columns created a sacred city dedicated to the eternal rule of Pharaoh Djoser. More than 4,600 years later, the Step Pyramid still stands, a lasting symbol of human imagination and the extraordinary genius of Imhotep. Imhotep's achievements did not end with the Step Pyramid. He became one of the most trusted men in Pharaoh Djoser's kingdom. Architect, royal advisor, chief administrator, and high priest. His wisdom influenced nearly every corner of the Egyptian government. Ancient inscriptions identify Imhotep as the high priest of Heliopolis, one of Egypt's most important religious centers. Here, religion, astronomy, and royal authority were deeply connected. Serving in this position required extraordinary knowledge and immense trust. Today, Imhotep is often remembered as one of history's earliest physicians. However, the evidence from his own lifetime does not clearly confirm that he practiced medicine. Centuries later, Egyptians honored him as a master healer. Whether physician, scholar, or both, his reputation for wisdom only continued to grow. In ancient Egypt, true wisdom meant mastering many fields: architecture, mathematics, religion, engineering, administration, and astronomy all worked together. Imhotep embodied this ideal. His knowledge made him one of the greatest scholars of his age. During his lifetime, Imhotep earned the respect of a king. But after his death, he would earn something even greater: immortality. Imhotep's life had come to an end, but his story was only beginning. Centuries passed, kingdoms rose and fell, yet the memory of the brilliant architect continued to grow. His achievements became legendary. His wisdom became timeless. As generations passed, stories about Imhotep spread across Egypt. He was remembered not only as an architect, but as a man of extraordinary wisdom. His reputation grew far beyond history. Over time, admiration became devotion. More than 1,000 years after his lifetime, Imhotep was officially honored as a god. People believed he possessed divine wisdom and the power to heal. Temples were built in his name. Pilgrims traveled great distances, seeking guidance, comfort, and healing. Few ordinary Egyptians ever received such extraordinary honor. When the Greeks arrived in Egypt, they encountered the legend of Imhotep. They identified him with Asclepius, their own god of healing. Across cultures, his reputation continued to flourish. A man who had lived thousands of years earlier was now honored by two great civilizations. Kings built monuments to be remembered. Imhotep built one that changed history, and in return, history never forgot his name. Imhotep designed one of history's greatest monuments. His name survived for more than 4,000 years. Yet one question remains unanswered. Where was Imhotep buried? Surprisingly, the final resting place of ancient Egypt's greatest architect has never been conclusively discovered. For decades, archaeologists have searched beneath the sands of Saqqara. Hidden tombs, forgotten passageways, and underground chambers continue to emerge. Some researchers believe Imhotep's tomb may still lie undiscovered, waiting beneath the desert. After more than 46 centuries, ancient texts offer only fragments of the story. Statues, inscriptions, and later temples confirm Imhotep's importance, but none reveal the exact location of his burial. Every discovery brings new clues, yet the mystery remains unsolved. If Imhotep's tomb is ever discovered, it could become one of archaeology's greatest finds. It might reveal how he lived, how he worked, and perhaps even writings from the man himself. Until then, much of his life remains hidden beneath the sands of time. Some mysteries survive the centuries, and perhaps that is why Imhotep's story continues to inspire the world. The completion of the Step Pyramid marked more than the end of a construction project. It marked the beginning of a new era. For the first time, humanity had proven that enormous monuments could be built almost entirely from stone. Imhotep's masterpiece inspired generations of Egyptian builders. They experimented with new designs. They refined construction techniques. They solved engineering challenges. Over the next century, the stepped pyramid evolved into the smooth-sided pyramids that still amaze the world today. Nearly a century after Imhotep, Egypt entered the Great Age of pyramid building. The rulers of the Fourth Dynasty constructed the magnificent pyramids at Giza. Though larger and more advanced, they all owed a debt to the bold vision of Imhotep. Imhotep did more than design a royal tomb. He changed the future of architecture. His ideas influenced generations of builders, engineers, and craftsmen. Stone became the language of Egyptian greatness. Every great monument begins with one idea. More than 4,600 years later, Imhotep's vision still stands against the desert sky, a timeless reminder that true genius never fades. Most great men are remembered only by their own people, but Imhotep became known far beyond the borders of Egypt. His wisdom traveled across seas, crossed civilizations, and survived for thousands of years. When Greek scholars encountered Egypt, they discovered the remarkable story of Imhotep. They saw a man remembered for wisdom, healing, and knowledge. The Greeks identified him with Asclepius, their own god of medicine. His reputation had become international. Through the centuries, Imhotep became a symbol of learning. Architects admired his vision. Priests honored his wisdom. Physicians respected the healing traditions associated with his name. His legacy extended far beyond the world he once knew. Today, archaeologists continue to study Imhotep's achievements. Every discovery reveals new details about his world. His monuments remain among humanity's greatest treasures, and his story continues to inspire millions. Time has buried kingdoms. Time has erased countless names, but the legacy of Imhotep still stands, carved in stone and remembered across the world. Few figures from the ancient world have inspired as many stories as Imhotep. But after more than 4,000 years, one important question remains. Which stories are supported by history, and which belong to legend. Archaeological evidence confirms that Imhotep served Pharaoh Djoser. He held some of Egypt's highest offices, and he is traditionally credited with designing the Step Pyramid at Saqqara. These achievements alone secured his place in history. Many of the stories that made Imhotep famous appeared centuries after his lifetime. Tales of miraculous healing, supernatural wisdom, and divine powers became part of Egyptian tradition. Whether every story is historically accurate remains uncertain, but together they reveal the extraordinary respect later generations held for him. Legends are not always records of events. Sometimes they reveal something equally important. They show how people remembered those who changed their world. In that sense, Imhotep's legend tells us just how deeply he influenced Egyptian civilization. History remembers great kings, but only a handful of ordinary men become legends. Imhotep achieved both. More than 4,600 years ago, one man dared to imagine what no one had imagined before. He transformed stone into history. His vision became the beginning of one of humanity's greatest architectural traditions. Imhotep's greatest achievement was never simply building a pyramid. He proved that knowledge, imagination, planning, and determination could accomplish what once seemed impossible. His ideas inspired generations long after his own lifetime. Empires have disappeared, dynasties have faded, but the work of Imhotep still stands. Every visitor who walks through Saqqara witnesses the beginning of monumental architecture. His masterpiece remains one of humanity's greatest achievements. Imhotep was not remembered because he sought fame. He was remembered because he changed the course of human history. His genius crossed centuries, his name survived civilizations, and his vision still inspires the world today. Great monuments are built with stone, but great legacies are built with ideas. Imhotep gave the world both, and after more than 4 millennia, his story continues to remind us that one brilliant mind can change the world forever. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of Imhotep, the visionary who forever changed architecture and left a legacy that still stands today. If you enjoyed this documentary, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more incredible stories from history. Which historical figure should we explore next? Leave your suggestion in the comments. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep history alive.